The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names have been made up, but the problems are real.
It was a Monday, 2:43 p.m. and warm in Los Angeles for that time of day. I was working the day watch out of MathNet. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. My partner is George Franklin. We'd gotten a call about a neighborhood disturbance, problem over a baseball. I mentioned it to George.
We've got a problem, George. Baseball.
I love baseball, Kate. Martha and I, we went to Dodger Stadium just last night, Kate.
The Dodgers played in Cincinnati last night, George.
Yeah, no trouble parking. You want to go with us, Martha and me, to a Dodger game, Kate? No trouble parking.
We've got a problem, George. Let's roll.
3 p.m. George and I drove to the neighborhood to question possible witnesses. One of the first rules of problem solving is getting the facts.
I'd like to ask you a couple of questions, sir.
Sure. Why not? Go ahead. I mean, shoot. I got nothing to hide.
Yes, sir. You notice any kids playing baseball around here today?
Kids?
Yes, sir.
Playing baseball?
Yes, sir. That's what we want to know. Kids playing baseball.
Not really. There's hardly enough room in the store for the new ski jump, let alone a baseball game.
Yes, sir. We didn't mean in your store, sir.
Besides, I wasn't here all day.
Where were you?
When?
Then?
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 There.
What were you doing there?
Where?
There.
Nothing. Not much anyways, just watching a bunch of kids play baseball.
Do you know where they are?
Who?
The kids.
When? Then?
No, now.
Yes.
Where?
There.
What happened, son?
We lost our baseball, ma'am.
Uh-huh. A lot of that going around.
Yes, but this ball was different.
Different?
Yeah, you know, not the same.
How was it different?
For one thing, it wasn't ours.
It was my dad's. It was a special ball. It was signed by Babe Ruth,
The king of SWAT?
Sultan of SWAT. My dad finds that I lost his souvenir. He'll murder me. Gotta find that ball.
When was the ball last seen?
When Nell belted it, I really teed off on it.
Good pitch?
High and tight, right in my wheelhouse. I got the meat of the bat on it, and I was playing left field. Sailed over my head, still rising. I lost in the sun. She hit it a ton.
It's as if it vanished, in thin air. We can't find it anywhere. My dad's gonna skin me.
We'll do the best we can. Let's measure the area, sketch it on paper, and run it through the computer. It'll be easier to sift through the information once we can see it.
Right.
Anything else, kids?
Don't think so. Just that I need that ball by the time my dad gets back from his business trip, or he'll rip me to shreds.
Yeah. We'll get back to you.
3:45 p.m. We asked Jenny Carlson, our computer expert in the lab, to help us out. She copied the information George gave her from his sketch onto the computer.
All right. This is a map of the area. Here is home plate where the ball was hit. This is left field, the direction the ball took.
What's that?
That's the billboard, remember, George?
You're right.
Now, if the ball landed in here, the kids would have found it.
But the left fielder was here, and he said the ball went over his head.
Well, if it landed behind the left fielder, they should have found it too.
It wasn't there. They looked, we looked, no ball.
What if it had gone farther against the sign?
That would be a heck of a clout. Do you think she could have hit it that far?
She said she got it all.
Well, if the ball hit the sign, this is what might have happened. It would have bounced here.
The angle of incidence equals the angle of reflection.
Yeah, the ball would bounce off the sign at the same angle it hit the sign.
If this angle is 50 degrees, then this angle will be 50 degrees.
Now, if the ball hit somewhere else?
This might have happened.
Uh-huh.
Or it might have done this. In every case, the ball bounces off the sign at the same angle it hit the sign.
Well, if it hit the sign, it would have to be somewhere in here.
There was a house there, George. Let's roll. Excuse me, ma'am. I'm Monday, MathNet. This is my partner, George Franklin.
MathNet.
Mind if we ask you a few questions?
Like what?
These kids lost a valuable baseball. We have reason to suspect it might be on your property. We'd like to search the grounds for information. Mind if we take a look around?
What would their baseball be doing on my property when they play way over there?
The angle of incidence equals the angle of reflection.
What?
Mathematics and physics.
We think the ball hit that sign. If it did, it should have bounced on your property, probably on your porch. Did you hear anything like that?
A baseball bouncing on my porch?
Yes, ma'am.
No, but then I've been gone most of the day.
Remember what time you left?
I remember exactly. I forgot my shopping list. I had to go back inside to get it, and I noticed the clock. It said exactly 1:45.
Yes, ma'am. Mind if we check that porch?
Okay. Watch the step.
We went over the property with a fine-tooth comb. No sign of the ball.
Let's take a look at that sign.
Think the ball could have done that?
Could be. Let's get back to the office. We'll keep working on it, kids.
Sure hope you solve it.
Your dad?
Yeah, who's wrong quarterly?
Morning, Jenny. Did that new information help?
Sure did. You know what?
What?
Look. That's the house. If the ball hit the sign where you think it did, it would have headed right for Mrs. McGregor's front door. It must be in the house.
Couldn't be. The door was closed.
But look at this. The ball hit here. It would have ricocheted and gone right here. If the door was closed, it would have bounced into this area.
We looked there. No ball.
Kate, wait a minute. Remember what Mr. McGregor said? Hello, ma'am. This is George Franklin, MapNet. Ma'am, when you went back into the house for your shopping list, did you close the door? You didn't?
If the ball was hit then,
It must be in the house.
Ma'am, we're coming back to see you. We have reason to believe the baseball is in your house. Mind if we look around?
Not really, but that's easier said than done.
How's that, ma'am?
My house has been stolen.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names have been made up, but the problems are real.
It was 9:43 a.m. We were working on the case of the missing baseball. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We decided to look at the last scene from yesterday's show to refresh our memories.
Hello, ma'am. This is George Franklin, MapNet. Ma'am, when you went back into the house for your shopping list, did you close the door? You didn't?
if the ball was hit then,
It must be in the house.
Ma'am, we're coming back to see you. We have reason to believe the baseball is in your house. Mind if we look around?
Not really, but that's easier said than done.
How's that, ma'am?
My house has been stolen.
Tuesday, 10:22 a.m. We decided to question Mrs. McGregor about her problem.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I've been better. Wipe your feet and get off my sidewalk.
Want to tell us what happened, ma'am?
I went over to my sister's house last night to watch the Dodger game
You have a sister living in Cincinnati?
on television. I spent the night there, came back this morning, and the house was gone.
Did you notice anything unusual yesterday before you left?
No, nothing. Well, wait. There was a man.
A man?
Yes, you know. A man. Deep voice. Half the shade.
Yes, ma'am, but where was he?
Sitting in a pickup truck across the street, wearing glasses. I didn't think too much about it at the time. There've been a lot of strange ducks around here lately.
How's that?
Well, for the past 6 months, people have been pestering me, trying to buy my house, rent it, rent a room. Well, I'm sick of it. I told them I wouldn't rent and I wouldn't sell. That's why I put up all those signs. Guess I missed one, though.
How's that, ma'am?
Should have put one up that said, "Do not steal house."
10:49 a.m. We needed more facts, and we needed to figure out what those facts meant.
Figure there are 3 ways to dispose of a house, Kate.
Uh-huh, that's about right.
They could blow it up.
Yeah, but there would be a lot of debris around.
Right. Or someone could have dismantled it.
Takes a long time to dismantle a house, George.
So that's out. The 3rd way is to jack it up, put it on a flatbed truck, and haul it away.
And if that's how they did it, someone must have seen or heard something.
We decided to question the neighbors to see if they saw or heard anything suspicious.
Morning, sir. We're MathNet working on the case of the missing baseball. I wonder if you could help us out.
I'm not very good at finding missing baseballs.
Yes, sir.
I found a missing golf ball once.
Uh-huh.
It was in the weeds.
Yes, sir.
It was, you know, round.
Most of them are.
What a day that was.
Last night, sir, were you home and did you see or hear anything unusual?
Yeah, I was home. I was watching a Dodger game.
You live in Cincinnati?
No, it was on television.
Yes, sir. Did you hear anything suspicious?
Like what?
Oh, maybe a house being stolen?
No, nothing like that. There was one thing, though.
Yes, sir.
In the 14th inning of the ball game, my TV went on the fritz. You know, couldn't see a picture.
How long did that last?
Not very long. Dodgers had 2 men on, nobody out. Next thing I know, the Reds are batting in the last of the 14th. Funny game, baseball.
It's a game of inches.
Now, if they trucked the house away, the truck would have left tracks.
I don't see any. Maybe they put ramps down to cover their tracks.
Maybe. Let's get the facts. Hello, ma'am.
Any progress?
No, ma'am, that baseball is just as missing as it ever was. Mind if we take another look around?
Be my guest.
Uh-huh.
Ever seen these glasses, ma'am?
Nope. Oh, wait. They look like the glasses that man I was telling you about was wearing.
Deep voice? Shave?
That's right. What would they be doing here?
We'll have the boys in the lab run a make on them. Come on, George, let's roll.
Yeah, but...
4:43 p.m. George sent the glasses to the lab to check the prescription and to see if they could help us identify the owner while I went back over the facts.
Is that the lab?
No, it was Martha. She needs more peppers for the meatloaf. You want to stop for dinner tonight, Kate?
Maybe. What are you having?
I don't know. She didn't say. She just said to stop on the way home for peppers for the meatloaf.
Maybe you're having meatloaf.
Oh, I doubt it.
How's that?
It's difficult to make. She's out of peppers.
Uh-huh. Let's go over the facts, George, and see if we can make some sense out of them. The ball was lost yesterday. It probably bounced off the sign.
Right. Ricocheted over to Mrs. McGregor's porch, probably right through the open door, so it's inside the house.
Right, but the house is missing. What does that tell us?
Somebody wanted that baseball real bad.
What else?
We find the house, we got the ball.
Okay. The house wasn't blown up, we know that.
Right. It wasn't dismantled either. And we know that it could have been hauled away in a truck.
So what does that leave us? What's the only possible answer?
I've got it.
Good.
The house is still there.
What's the only other answer?
I don't know.
Mathnet, Monday. Oh, hello, Howie. No luck on the missing ball yet. We'll keep in touch. I understand.
Howie?
Yeah. His dad's due back in 3 days. If we don't find that missing baseball,
Yeah?
his father's going to turn him inside out.
Stymied, Kate. The house with the ball in it is gone. It's just gone. It couldn't have just flown away.
Or could it?
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names have been made up, but the problems are real.
Wednesday, 2:43 p.m. It was hot in L.A. and hadn't snowed for months. We were working on the case of the missing baseball. We figured the ball was in Mrs. McGregor's house, but it had been stolen. The house, that is. We decided to look at the last scene from yesterday's show to refresh our memories.
Mathnet, Monday. Oh, hello, Howie. No luck on the missing ball yet. We'll keep in touch. I understand.
Howie?
Yeah. His dad's due back in 3 days. If we don't find that missing baseball,
Yeah?
his father's going to turn him inside out.
Stymied, Kate. The house with the ball in it is gone. It's just gone. It couldn't have just flown away.
Or could it? George and I returned to Mrs. McGregor's tent to see if we'd missed anything.
I don't think we missed anything, Kate.
George, look at the trees.
I think that I shall never see a poem lovely as if they're naked.
Right, no leaves.
Must have been a heck of a wind.
Mm-hmm. But look at those trees over there and over there.
They're still dressed. How could the wind have blown the leaves off these trees and not off those trees?
Maybe it wasn't a natural wind.
You mean an unnatural wind?
Yes. What if it was a helicopter?
And the downdraft from the rotors blew the leaves off these trees?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, why not? But is a helicopter capable of lifting a house?
Let's ask a man who owns one. Do you know much about helicopters, General Scarlett?
If I don't know it, it ain't worth knowing.
Do you know who invented the helicopter, General Scarlett?
Yes, I do. Ask me another question.
We asked General Scarlett if it was possible for a helicopter to move a small house. He said yes, and showed us a videotape of one of the few choppers that could do it. A specially designed model known as the XY313. We asked him if there were any in the area.
Well, we have two right here on the base, and there are two others owned by airplane leasing companies. One's in Los Angeles, the other's in Oxnard.
Now we were on the trail. We figured the house must have been airlifted, and the only two companies who could have done it were in our area. We were home free.
You sure? Well, thanks anyway.
Did they rent the chopper 2 nights before last, George?
They didn't. Their XY313 is down for repairs. Hasn't flown for 2 weeks.
Impossible. And the other company didn't rent theirs out either?
Nope. Not much call for a chopper like that, I guess, Kate. One that lifts houses, I mean.
I felt sure we had him this time. Mathnet, Monday. Oh, hello, Howie. No, I know. Not yet. Your dad's going to be home in 2 days. Really? We're working on it.
Howie?
Yeah. His dad's going to make him walk the plank if we don't get that baseball back.
We decided to check with Ginny in the lab to see if those glasses could give us some information.
Hi, mathematicians. I'm running a check on the glasses.
Find anything yet?
38 things.
38?
You know, between 37 and 39.
Uh-huh.
Those frames have been manufactured for only about a year. So far, 38 have been sold in our area.
What are you doing, Jenny?
What are those numbers?
I called into the local optometrist database to check on the glasses that you brought in. The frames have a serial number, and I sent out the glasses to get the prescription. There are the numbers.
I don't know what those numbers mean. Let's ask an expert. George, call an optometrist and find out what visual problem someone has who needs that prescription. Jenny, will you find out how many of the 38 frames have that prescription?
Sure can, Kate. I just have to search the database. Three, Kate.
Great. And there are the names and addresses.
Kate, the doctor says it's a pretty common prescription. They're reading glasses for someone with the slightest astigmatism.
Then someone could fly a helicopter without them.
Sure, or play baseball, or ride a pony, or fall up a log, or...
Anything but read.
That's right, or any other close work. You know, like needlepoint, or building a model train, or picking aphids off baby roses, or...
The names of the owners of the glasses are Justin Michaels, Clarence Sampson, and Alfred Fox. That's with 2 X's, Kate.
That doesn't help me much.
How's that?
I don't know any of these guys.
Don't worry, George.
Huh?
You will. Thanks, Jenny.
Anytime. We still on for Saturday, George?
Sure are. Martha's looking forward to it.
Going to have meatloaf again?
Sure.
I can't come, George. I'll be right back. Watch the phone, George.
Answer the phone, George.
Mathnet. Who? Scarlett. No, this isn't Kate. It's frankly Scarlett, and I don't give... Oh, General Scarlett. I see. Thank you, sir.
Got something?
Maybe. Said he forgot about one XY313. Right in our backyard. A fellow has one at Burbank. Says he rents it out sometimes. Here's the number.
Yes, sir. Kate Monday, MathNet. I understand you have an XY313 for rent. Uh-huh. Didn't happen to rent it a couple of nights ago, did you? Uh-huh. Could you tell me who you rented it to? I'm sorry. Could you tell me to whom you rented it? Yes, I'll hold. Uh-huh. Clarence Sampson. Do you have an address on him? Uh-huh. 727 Bluff Drive. Thank you.
That's the name of one of the owners of the glasses, Kate. What a coincidence. 2 guys with the same name and address.
It's one guy, George. We've got our man. Let's roll to 727 Bluff Drive. Notice something strange, George?
Yeah. All the numbers on this side of the street are even, and 727's an odd number. No problem. Just means the place we're looking for is on the other side of the street.
Have you looked on the other side of the street, George? There are no odd-numbered houses on Bluff Drive. The address is a phony.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names have been made up, but the problems are real.
It was Thursday, 2:43 p.m., and it was over 110 degrees in Sri Lanka. Luckily, we were working MathNet out of Los Angeles. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green, chief of detectives. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We've been working on the problem of the missing baseball and had gone down one blind alley after another. Still no solutions. Just have to keep at it. We decided to look at the last scene from yesterday's show to see if there was anything we had missed. Notice something strange, George?
Yeah. All the numbers on this side of the street are even, and 727's an odd number. No problem. Just means the place we're looking for is on the other side of the street.
Have you looked on the other side of the street, George? There are no odd-numbered houses on Bluff Drive. The address is a phony. We're still working on it, Howie.
Can I do anything to help?
Not yet, son, but if we think of something, we'll call you.
My dad will be home tomorrow.
We know, Howie. We're doing everything we can.
I hope it's enough.
Son?
If I don't get that baseball back, he'll tar and feather me.
Uh-huh.
He'll put me in the stocks.
We're trying.
Probably run me out of town on a rail.
Goodbye, Howie. Did you run a make on Clarence Sampson?
Uh-huh. It's amazing what we can do with these computers, isn't it, Kate? I remember when we had to do it by hand. It took weeks. He goes by a lot of aliases. Charles Charlie Sampson, alias Carl Sampson, that's with a C, alias William Howard Taft Sampson.
What have you got on him?
Spent 13 years in state prison for robbery. paroled 6 months ago.
Uh-huh. What kind of robbery?
Gold bars. They took 10 of them in 1975. Know what they were worth?
Nope.
Well, according to this, a gold bar weighs 330 ounces.
Uh-huh.
And gold was worth $160 an ounce back then.
Let's see. 330 is about 1/3 of 1,000. 1/3 of 160 is 53. So each gold bar was worth $53,000.
So 10 bars at $53,000 each, he got away with more than $500,000. Probably worth a lot more today. The gold bars, I mean.
Uh-huh. And they never found the gold?
Nope. You know how he did it? Swiped the gold, I mean?
How?
Took it out of the top of Fort Knox. You know, Kentucky, the bluegrass state.
Out of the top. How did he do that?
Helicopter.
We needed more information. I asked Jenny to check the specs on the XY313. George was checking some house moving companies to get an approximate weight on Mrs. McGregor's house.
Thank you very much, sir. I've got some info on the XY313. It's got a range of 600 miles.
It's a lot of range.
How's that?
Look. The missing baseball was here in Burbank.
You mean the house?
Yes, but as George says, you got the house, you got the ball.
Uh-huh. Go on.
Look, on this map, 1 inch equals 20 miles. So for 600 miles, we would measure 30 inches, which would take us all the way up to Oregon.
So the house could be almost anywhere.
But the helicopter's range is 600 miles. It would have to fly back to base after dropping off the house, so it couldn't have flown more than 300 miles each way. But that would still take us all the way up to here.
That's still too much ground to cover.
Jenny, Kate, we got an approximate weight on the house. The moving company said it weighs about 7 tons.
14,000 pounds.
The XY313 can handle that. It could carry up to 16,000 pounds, but the 600-mile circle is still too big.
Wait, we're forgetting something.
I know, Martha told me. Green peppers for the meatloaf. You sure you can't come, Jenny?
Positive.
Kate?
Uh-uh.
You guys ever had Martha's meatloaf?
Yep. What we're forgetting is that the helicopter was carrying a house. Now, that extra weight would cut the range back even further. But how much?
Yes, sir, me again. I was wondering if there was any way you can tell me how far the helicopter flew. You can? Uh-huh. Okay. I see. Thank you.
Got something?
Let's work. He said he refueled the tank this morning. It used 2,400 pounds of fuel. At top speed, it burns about 4,800 pounds per hour.
2,400 divided by 4,800 equals 1/2. That means it was up in the air about half an hour.
Right.
What kind of speed does it make?
The XY313 has a top speed of 160 miles per hour.
So in a half an hour, it would have flown half that far, or 80 miles.
He flew someplace and returned to the base.
That's right. We take 80, divide it by 2, and we get a radius of 40 miles.
We can cover that. 40 miles, I mean.
Let's take a look at that other map. On this map, 1 inch equals 5 miles. So 8 inches equals 40 miles. This is the helicopter base, so the house could have been dropped anywhere within this circle.
But look, 20% of that circle is Pacific Ocean. We can eliminate that area.
Uh-huh.
They wouldn't have put it there.
Right.
It would sink.
All we have to do is concentrate our efforts in this area, but it's still going to take time, and we need that baseball by tomorrow.
Wait a minute, we're forgetting something else. The helicopter would make a lot of noise carrying a house. Let's question some of the residents in the area and see if they heard anything.
That's going to take time.
Got an idea. Hello, Howie? No, it's not your father.
I asked Howie and his friends to ask people all over the area if they heard or saw a helicopter on the night the house was snatched. They began to call in with their reports.
Uh-huh. And no one saw anything, but a couple of people thought they heard a chopper. Uh-huh. What's that? Nothing unusual except what? Television reception on the Fritz. Thanks, Howie.
Anything, Kate?
Some people complaining about their television reception that night.
Funny, so was the guy we talked to.
What guy?
The guy in Tuesday's episode, remember? He complained about his TV reception, too.
MathNet Monday. Hello, Nell. Find out anything? Some complaints? TV reception. Are you in the Whitechapel area? Thanks. George. Those complaints are all coming from the same direction.
MapNet. Yes, Mr. McGregor. More complaints about TV reception? What area? Thanks. Same direction, but further southeast.
Then it must have been the helicopter that was causing that interference. Look, it's giving us an arrow. The house has to be somewhere along this line. What we've got to figure out is where that interference stopped. Call Howie.
George called Howie and told him to follow the arrow until he ran out of interference complaints. I checked the map.
I'll get it. It's probably Martha. Sure you can't come, Kate? She'll be awful disappointed. Mapnet. Oh, hi, Howie. I thought you were my wife. Really? The complaints stop at Scenario Circle? Nothing beyond that point? Terrific, Howie. The house has got to be here.
We've got our man, George. Let's roll.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names have been made up, but the problems are real.
It was Friday, 2:43 p.m. We were working the day watch out of Mathnet. Clouds covered the LA basin. Rain had fallen near the coast. Somewhere a loon cried over a lake. We were still trying to solve the problem of the missing baseball. We decided to review yesterday's episode to refresh our memories. George called Howie and told him to follow the arrow until he ran out of interference complaints. I checked the map.
Really? The complaints stop at Scenario Circle? Nothing beyond that point? Terrific, Howie. The house has got to be here.
We've got our man, George. Let's roll.
Looks like these houses have been here forever, Kate.
Uh-huh. But how about that little one over there? Looks a little out of place, doesn't it?
Uh-huh. And it does look like Miss McGregor's house.
A little bit, yeah.
Except for one thing. Her house was green with green shutters. This one is green with white shutters.
Let's talk to the owner anyway. Look, George, a missing porch board. Just like the porch at Mrs. McGregor's house. This must be the place.
Could be a coincidence, Kate. You know, I mean like a happenstance.
Uh-huh. Well, nobody's home. We'll just have to come back later. This must be the house.
We called Mrs. McGregor and Howie to headquarters to ask some additional questions. We asked Mrs. McGregor about the floor plan of her house.
Are you sure this is what the inside of your house looked like?
That's it, miss.
If the ball entered from the front door, it would have come here.
Uh-huh. And bounced off this wall, probably ended up in this corner.
Well, let's get out there and look in that corner.
That's correct, except for one thing.
Ma'am?
That's not a wall. That's a fireplace.
Then the ball is in there, right in the fireplace. Miss McGregor will be in touch. Howie, come with us. We'll have your father's baseball back in no time.
Uh-oh.
Aren't you happy?
Just one thing. It was cold last night. What if they had a fire in the fireplace?
We were sure we had the right house. All we had to do now was prove it.
Afternoon, sir. I'm Monday.
Frankly.
Mathnet.
I never work with a net. Go away.
Wonder if we could ask you a few questions, sir.
The answer to your question is no.
What's your name, sir?
Oh, that's easy. Chuck. Charlie. Sampson. Simpson.
You sure?
Sure, I'm sure. My mother sewed it into my socks.
Uh-huh. Wonder if you could tell me how long you've lived here.
Lived here? All my life. I was born in this house.
Really?
Yeah. I went to school here. Got married here. I've been here a long time.
Yes, sir. We're looking for a missing baseball.
You have an unusual occupation.
Yes, sir. I wonder if you've ever seen this.
I can't see a thing without my glasses. I must have mislaid them.
Are those your glasses over there?
Oh, sure. Thanks. I'm always mislaying them. My glasses, I mean. Sure wish I didn't need them, you know, to see with.
Yes, sir. About that baseball.
Nope, can't help you. I never saw it in my life.
We have reason to believe it might be in your house. Wonder if we could take a look around.
I can tell you that baseball is not in my house. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have work to do.
Did you have a fire in your fireplace last night?
Are you kidding? This is L.A. That's a fake fireplace. Hey, kid, where are you going? You know you're in my fireplace.
I got it. I got the ball.
Congratulations, Howie.
Your father will be happy.
Yeah, and I'll be able to grow up and lead a normal life. Probably meet the girl of my dreams. Have a place in the country.
Uh-huh.
Well, Samson, still say it's your house?
Hey, a baseball in the fireplace doesn't prove anything. A lot of people keep a baseball in the fireplace.
You're a lucky kid to have a real autograph from Babe Ruth.
I'll say, a real baseball in a fake fireplace. Behind some fake logs, on top of some fake gold bricks.
Fake gold bricks.
Fake gold bricks?
Fake gold bricks. So that's where he hid them. Uh-oh. All right, you got me. I stole the gold years ago. I spent some time in prison. That's all behind me now, so...
So?
Can I go now?
You're forgetting one thing, Samson.
Yeah?
We got you on a 484.
484.
Stealing a baseball.
Why'd you steal my father's baseball, Mr. Sampson?
I didn't steal your father's baseball. I stole the house.
Why did you steal the house?
It wasn't for sale, and I needed it.
There are plenty of other houses in the greater Los Angeles area. Why this one?
Well, it's like this. When I stole that gold, I had a partner. He got away, but also he took the gold with him. And when I got out, I traced him here. He was living in this house when he got arrested for another crime. So I knew he must have hidden the gold in this house.
So you put the nab on the house to get the gold.
And it was here all the time. My partner built a fireplace out of gold bricks. Can you beat that? Should have known it, too.
Oh?
Used to be a bricklayer before he turned to a life of crime and corruption.
Would you say that crime does not pay?
I sure would. Not the way I do it, anyway.
We handed Clarence Sampson, alias Charles Sampson, alias Carl Sampson, alias William Howard Taft Sampson, over to the ever-vigilant Los Angeles Police Department. Congratulations, partner.
Clarence Sampson was arrested for filching the house, which he was made to return. And he was found guilty of baseball theft and sentenced to an appropriate number of years away from society. The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was Monday, 2:43 p.m., and traffic in the Los Angeles area was bumper to bumper due to an accident involving a tractor-trailer truck with a bed of alfalfa sprouts. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician.
Afternoon, Math Matters. Hi, Kate. George was just telling me about his weekend.
Have a good one, George?
Weekend? Sure did, Kate. Martha and I went to the Flickers. Tried to call you guys. Couldn't reach Debbie and your answering machine was on. Thought you might like to go with us.
I didn't get a message from you on my machine.
I didn't leave one. I get nervous and never know what to say.
So what movie did you see, George?
That new police thriller, Woodland Hills Cop.
Good show?
Yeah, but those movies sure make detective work look glamorous and easy. People riding around in cars with red lights, solving crimes, having fun.
We know that solving crimes is a lot of work, right, George?
I'll say.
Who's in the movie?
I don't know. Frankly, MathNet. I mean, MathNet, frankly. What? It's incredible. You wouldn't be trying to pull my arm, would you? Okay, we'll be right out there. The manager of one of those 10-4 stores.
The convenience stores?
Uh-huh. The one on Western Avenue. He was just robbed.
Unfortunately, that happens a lot.
Yeah, but not like this. This one was robbed by a monkey. Excuse me. Have you got a monkey in this store?
Aisle 7.
Excuse me, sir. Are you the man who called?
About the monkey?
Yes, sir. Are you?
Am I what?
The man who called.
About what?
About the monkey.
What about the monkey?
Are you the man who called?
About the monkey.
Maybe I am and maybe I ain't.
Well, am you or ain't you? I mean, aren't you?
Yes, I am. You would have done the same thing. Every time you're running a 10-4 store, you get a lot of strange monkeys in here. But this monkey was a monkey.
Yes, sir. I wonder if you could tell me what he took.
Who? The monkey?
That's right, the monkey.
Came abounding in here without a yes, no, maybe, and held us out to whatever he wanted. He got an armload of bananas.
How many bananas would you say?
All of them. Oh.
How many was that?
20 pounds. I just marked them.
What are you getting for bananas?
Money.
How much money?
49 cents a pound.
George, what are you doing?
Figuring out in my head about how much the stuff is worth. Let's see, 20 pounds of bananas at 49 cents for each pound is...
A little less than $10.
That's right, but I don't think that's the problem we should be working on.
Right. Did you notice anything unusual about the monkey? Well, you know what I mean. Any scars, jewelry. Did he walk with a limp?
No, he was just one great big hairy monkey.
Would you recognize him if you saw him again? You know, in broad daylight? In a lineup?
What happened next?
He just started pounding himself on the front and jumped up and down and ran out the back.
Is there a door back there?
There is now.
Well, if you think of anything else, please give us a call. George, I don't think this crime is on the up and up.
What do you mean?
Monkeys don't just run into stores, grab a bunch of bananas, and leave.
Yeah, especially at 49 cents a pound. Martha pays about 35 at the drive-in shop.
What I mean is, I don't think this store was robbed by a monkey, if it was robbed at all.
You mean the manager may be setting this whole thing up as a cover for some other crime?
Could be. When's the last time you remember a monkey involved in a daring daylight robbery?
11 Adam 12, 11 Adam 12. See the man about the monkey.
Control, this is 11 Adam 12. We just saw the man about the monkey.
11 Adam 12. See the other man about the monkey. He's just done another market of Vermont and 7th.
Let's roll.
Then this big monkey came into the back of the store and went right to the produce section.
Were there any other witnesses?
Yeah, but only for a few seconds.
What did he take?
Oh, armloads of spinach, tomatoes, carrots.
Seems to like a well-balanced diet. Maybe he's going to toss a salad.
I thought of that. But he didn't take any dressing.
Uh-huh.
See, I was working the checkout stand, and I just barely noticed him out of the corner of my eye.
The corner?
Yeah, you know, the corner. See, I didn't recognize him as being a monkey at first. I was expecting a visit from the avocado salesman.
What happened next?
A lady screamed. I turned around. Everybody ran out.
Can you describe him for us?
He was about your height, but with longer arms.
6 feet tall. Maybe a 40 or 50-inch sleeve.
But he was heavier than.
Uh-huh.
And much thicker, but probably weighed twice as much.
350 to 400 pounds. What about his hair? Was it a wispy blonde like mine?
Thank you, sir.
I sure hope you catch him.
I know. All this monkeying around can't be good for business. Kate, I'm just kidding. Kate, crying out loud.
Debbie, we've got 2 of the strangest capers we've ever encountered.
It's incredible, Debbie. 2 stores were robbed by a great big monkey.
That's not true.
What do you mean?
Not 2 stores, 3 stores. While you were out, this came in.
Another one. This one on the corner of Normandy and Pico.
3 monkey robberies in less than an hour. You know something? It's a jungle out there.
Did you talk to the store owner?
I did. He was pretty shook up. He said a big monkey came into the store, grabbed the shopping cart, and...
I know. Filled it with fruits and vegetables.
But that's not all. He also made off with the lettuce. You know, the cabbage.
You mean?
Mm-hmm. He robbed the cash register.
Money? What's a monkey going to do with money?
What do you mean?
No pockets. Where's he going to keep it?
Now it's beginning to make a little sense.
Not to me, it isn't.
Maybe it's not a real monkey. Those first 2 robberies were just to set us up.
You mean to make us think a real monkey was robbing the stores of produce?
Right. Just when we think we're after a monkey, it robs a store of money. Sometimes when you get the facts, they don't add up the way you expect. Maybe we're not looking at this problem in the right way.
You mean you think we might be after somebody dressed up in a monkey suit?
Exactly. And where do you go to get a monkey suit costume?
Monkey Suit City?
Fox Costumes, the largest costume house in the city. All the movie studios rent costumes from them.
Call them, George. See who rented a monkey suit in the last couple of days.
Good thinking, Kate. This is working out just as slick as that movie Martha and I saw.
I'll bet that's a report of another robbery by the man in the monkey suit. Answer it, George.
Mathnet, frankly, Could you say that again? A little slower. Not that slow. Thank you. We'll be right there.
Where did the man in the monkey suit strike this time?
That wasn't a robbery.
Oh?
It was the zoo.
The zoo?
Where they keep the animals?
Uh-huh.
Grunt is missing.
Who?
The zoo's prize gorilla, Grunt, is missing from his cage.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
4:43 p.m. and in Los Angeles it was the best of times, it was the worst of times. I was working the day watch out of Massnet. My partner is George Franklin, the boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday, I'm a mathematician. We were working on the problem of the absent ape. We decided to look at a scene from yesterday's show to refresh our memories. A series of robberies had been committed by, of all things, a man in a monkey suit. Or so we thought, until...
And where did the man in the monkey suit strike this time?
That wasn't a robbery.
Oh?
It was the zoo.
The zoo?
Where they keep the animals?
Uh-huh.
Grunt is missing.
Who?
The zoo's prize gorilla, Grunt, is missing from his cage.
Now that we knew it was a gorilla and not a monkey, George and I drove to the park and spoke with Buck Clyde, curator of the world-famous LA Zoo.
Well, the last anybody saw of him was at his 10 o'clock feeding this morning. Then, about an hour ago, I came by and found his cage with the door open, and Grunt was gone.
Could you tell us what Grunt eats, Mr. Clyde?
Absolutely. This is Grunt's feeding chart. 60% fruits and vegetables, 30% grains, 10% dairy product.
Was the lock on the cage door broken?
No, it wasn't.
Grunt doesn't have a key, does he?
Of course not. Besides, it was a combination lock. It was just unlocked, and he was gone.
Has he ever pulled this stunt before?
No. Grunt's very docile. Just likes to be left alone.
Do you have any idea where he would go once he was free?
Not really.
Does he have any relatives around here? You know, maybe at other zoos or in the valley?
Grunt's only real friend is a little girl.
Could you tell us her name?
Jane Rice Burroughs. She comes here and helps out after school. She and Grunt liked each other. Sometimes I think they almost understood each other.
We'd like to talk to her.
So please let me talk to her first. I'll have to explain what happened. She'll be devastated.
I plotted the locations on this map, Massnetters. This is where the first robbery took place.
Where was the second?
The second is here, and the third is here.
What's this point toward the top, Debbie?
That's the zoo. Now, on this map, the scale says 1 inch represents 2 miles. The first robbery took place 3 inches away from the zoo.
3 inches represents 6 miles.
Right. Could a gorilla have traveled that far?
Let's assume he left the zoo at 10 o'clock.
The first robbery call came in at 3.
That's 5 hours. Buck Clyde said a gorilla could travel at 10 to 12 miles per hour, but he couldn't do that for very long.
Theoretically, Grunt could have gone a maximum of
50 or 60 miles in that amount of time. But he couldn't have run full speed for 5 or 6 hours.
But he could have gone to 6 miles, even if he didn't catch every light.
Now, let's figure out where he might be. It's been an hour and a half since the last robbery, which was here.
Let's try the worst case. If Grunt was still capable of traveling a maximum of 12 miles an hour...
In an hour and a half, Grunt could have gone another 18 miles.
1 inch represents 2 miles on this map. So I'll set my compass at a 9-inch radius. Put the point of the compass at the site of the last robbery. Grunt could be anywhere within this circle.
Debbie, put out an APB on that area. Get every police car you can on the lookout for Grunt.
I'll check the area for stores that carry fresh produce.
Good idea, and I'll answer the phone. Monday. Wonderful. Send her in.
Got someone?
Jane Rice Burroughs, the little girl from the zoo, is here. Let's talk to her.
I'll check on those markers for you, George.
Thanks, Debbie.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, Jane. I'm Kate Monday. This is my partner, George Franklin.
Hello, Jane Rice Burroughs. Please sit down.
Thank you.
Where do you live?
In the valley,
Whereabouts?
Tarzana. I thought maybe I could help you find my friend.
Grunt is really your friend?
He sure is.
By the way, how did Grunt get his name?
Well, I don't know. One day I asked him what his name was, and he just said...
We can use your help, Jane. We've got to capture him before he gets into any more trouble.
He didn't do those things they're saying about him, Miss Monday. Grunt wasn't like that.
We know how you feel about your friend, Jane, but I'm afraid he did rob those stores.
But he just couldn't. Grunt is very shy. It took him almost a year before he could even look at me. He'd hide from people.
Doesn't sound like the act of a shy gorilla to break out of his cage.
But he didn't break out. This lock was opened.
So he worked out the combination.
Mr. Frankly, gorillas' hands don't work like ours. They can't get their thumbs and their index fingers to touch. He couldn't turn the dial on a combination lock.
He could have pressed his palm against it, but there are 36 numbers on the lock.
And he needs to turn it to the 3 correct numbers to open it.
Aren't there a lot of combinations?
Let's figure it out. There are 36 numbers, and he turns it to the left to begin.
Then he has to turn the knob back to the right past the first number, and he has 36 choices again.
So we multiply 36 times 36.
1,296, Kate. But he has to turn it around again to get to the 3rd number. So that's another 36 choices.
So we multiply again.
1,296 times 36 equals 46,656.
46,656 combinations.
It's very unlikely Grunt could have found the correct combination by accident.
But it is possible.
I think somebody gorilla napped him. That's what I think.
All right, Jane, but assume for the moment that he did do those robberies. We're trying to figure out where he is now so that we can catch him before he hurts someone.
Or he gets hurt.
Right. See this map?
Uh-huh.
We figure he's somewhere in this circle.
How'd you figure that out?
Gorillas can go about 12 miles an hour. He left this spot an hour and a half ago.
An hour and a half times 12 miles an hour is 18 miles.
But Grunt's an old gorilla. He's out of shape.
Did he smoke?
No, but he couldn't run 12 miles an hour, not for more than a few minutes anyway. That's a mile every 5 minutes. Excuse me. If he was there, and I just know he wasn't, but if he was, I say he couldn't be more than about 4 miles from here. 1 inch represents 2 miles. I set the compass at 2 inches. I say he's got to be right in there somewhere, which he isn't. I've got proof.
Why are you so sure?
This.
What's that, a doll?
Uh-huh, it's the Fay Ray doll, and I gave it to Grunt. He takes it with him everywhere. It was still in his cage when I went to the zoo after school.
I know how he feels. Boy, I had a Winnie the Pooh bear when I was a kid, and I hated to part with it. Actually, it's still around somewhere. Martha hid it.
I used to tell Grunt bedtime stories and feed him pizza.
Grunt likes pizza?
Uh-huh, he loves it.
Jane, just how tall was Grunt?
He's about 1.8 meters.
A meter is a little more than a yard. 1.8 meters is about 2 yards, or 6 feet.
That fits the description. How much did he weigh?
180 kilograms, more or less.
A kilogram is about 2.2 pounds.
So we multiply 180 times 2.2, and we get 396 pounds.
So he's about as tall as I am, but he weighs more than twice as much. And we both like pizza.
Pizza was just a treat. Gorillas are vegetarians, and they eat a lot.
Does he like bananas?
Uh-huh, loves them.
That's what was missing from the first robbery.
Oh.
Does he like spinach and tomatoes and carrots?
Uh-huh. Why? Is that what was missing from the second robbery?
Uh-huh.
Jane, I'm afraid it was your friend Grunt. Maybe he just got so excited when he got out of his cage that he just changed.
Yeah, he went bananas.
MathNet Monday. Who? I see. What is your location, sir? Thank you, sir. We'll be right out. Excuse me.
What's that?
The location of the latest robbery.
Was it?
Uh-huh. He just knocked over Balboa's Pizzeria.
What did he get?
All the money and 3 large pies to go.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was morning, 8:43, and hot and sunny in Los Angeles for that time of year. The sunburn index stood at 9 and the wind chill was not a factor. We were working the day watch out of MassNet. We were in hot pursuit of the problem with the absent tape. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. A series of weird crimes had been taking place in the greater Los Angeles basin. A gorilla who had escaped from the zoo had been robbing local merchants. They were tired of it. We were tired of it. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's show to get us up to speed. When you're trying to solve a problem, it's always a good idea to go over your facts. Make sure you're on the right track.
Now on this map, the scale says 1 inch represents 2 miles. The first robbery took place 3 inches away from the zoo.
3 inches represents 6 miles.
Right. Could a gorilla have traveled that far?
We determined that gorillas can travel 10 to 12 miles an hour at top speed, and the elapsed time between the robberies was 5 hours. By multiplying 5 hours by 10 miles and 12 miles, we determined the gorilla could have covered 50 or 60 miles. When a gorilla named Grunt was found to be missing from the zoo, its young friend Jane came by to help us. Jane was convinced that her friend Grunt wouldn't have committed the robberies. She said he couldn't have traveled that far that fast.
But Grunt's an old gorilla. He's out of shape.
Did he smoke?
Jane told us he couldn't be that far from the scene of the last robbery.
1 inch represents 2 miles. I set the compass at 2 inches. I say he's got to be right in there somewhere.
Jane told us Grunt loved pizza pie. Then the phone rang.
Thank you. We'll be right out.
Excuse me.
What's that?
The location of the latest robbery.
Was it?
Uh-huh. He just knocked over Balboa's Pizzeria.
What did he get?
All the money and 3 large pies to go.
Yes, sir. You get on the phone. Can you have a convert? Thank you. Kate, this is incredible. I've got reports on 7 different robberies that took place early this morning. Store robberies to home break-ins.
Uh-huh, me too. Me too.
I still don't think it could be Grunt.
Don't feel badly, Jane. Here's a report on something he didn't take.
Oh?
He broke into a home in Bel Air and took all the jewelry, silver, and money, but he left one thing. Season tickets to the Rams games.
You've got to believe me, everybody. Grunt couldn't have done these awful things.
But why not? They all took place between midnight and 4 a.m. and all within a 2-mile radius of each other. Certainly he could have traveled that far.
But what you don't know about gorillas is they're very shy.
Shy? Hold on there. You're talking to a mathematician who has seen Bonzo Goes to Washington more than a few times.
But that's my point. All the Hollywood movies and television show gorillas as killers. They're not.
What do you mean, Jane?
Gorillas are gentle animals and very shy. They hide from people.
Obviously, you haven't seen Woodland Hills Cop, where this orangutan swings out of the opera house.
Gorillas only become fierce when they feel threatened.
Jane, the evidence is overwhelming.
And here's something else you haven't considered. Gorillas need a lot of rest, and according to your own reports, Grunt has been robbing stuff for about 18 hours straight.
Maybe he feels he's on a roll.
Gorillas spend at least 14 hours a day sleeping.
That's more than half a day.
They have to renew themselves. Grunt couldn't have gone that long without sleep. You have to believe me.
MathNet Monday. Yes, sir. How are you, Mr. Balboa? Really? We'll be right out.
Was that Sly Balboa, the movie star?
No, it was Pie Balboa, the pizza czar. Thinks he's got something. Let's roll. Pie Balboa said he found what he thought was some evidence in his kitchen and wanted us to come back to take a look. When you're solving a problem, you have to look at every possibility.
I think he left these. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir, Mr. Balboa. The gorilla came through here and left footprints in the flour.
Yeah. I guess. I mean, I seen him last night. I just figured they're my brother-in-law's or something.
Those aren't gorilla footprints.
Well, they ain't my brother-in-law's. Hey, checked it out.
How can you tell, Jane?
Because there are only 2 sets of footprints here.
How many feet did Grunt have, Jane?
That's just it. Gorillas don't really walk on their hind legs like they do in the movies. They walk on all 4s. So there'd be sets of 4 prints.
Maybe you should talk to my brother-in-law. I'll call him.
Besides, the stride of a gorilla is about 30 inches. These look more like a man made them. About 36 inches. Uh-huh.
How do you know so much about gorillas, Jane?
I read a lot and study. When I grow up, I want to be a zoologist. You know, study animals and their behavior.
Hey, yo! Sylvester! Come on down! I think I got a job for you.
Look at this, Kate.
Martha baking again?
Found it near the footprints in the pizzeria. Pie Balboa said it was one of the pies Grunt swiped.
What are you going to do with it?
Thought I'd run it through the lab, you know, to see if they'd get any info to help us.
Like what?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe check to see if Grunt had an overbite, something like that. In Woodland Hills Comp, they use dental records to see if...
What are those?
These? Anchovies.
Ew, gross. Grunt hates anchovies. He never eats pizza with anchovies. He only eats extra cheese with green peppers.
That's my favorite, too.
Hello, Math Matters.
Got something?
Uh-huh.
Another robbery?
Yes, but this one is a little different.
How so?
Look. He just robbed a market in Huntington Beach. It's one of those Abel Baker supermarkets.
Martha shops the one in our neighborhood. I'll ask her to stop.
Look at this, Kate. Huntington Beach is almost 40 miles away from these other robberies.
How much time did he have?
The call came in at 10:01 this morning. The last one was at 4 a.m.
That's 6 hours. If he moved at 10 miles per hour, he could have gone 60 miles.
But he can't go that fast. He hasn't had any rest. He couldn't have gotten there.
We understand how you feel, Jane, and we know it sounds impossible, but theoretically, he could have made it.
No way.
It would have been tough.
What do you mean?
Traffic in Orange County is terrible at that time of day. Mathnet, frankly. Are you sure? What time was that? Uh-huh. Was he out of breath? I see. Then it must not have been he. Thank you. Crime in Italy's.
What?
Our gorilla was spotted at 10:05. He was picking oranges in the backyard of a house on Scenic Drive in that new project. You know, the step development in the Hollywood Hills? The lady yelled and the monkey left.
Now, there's no way one gorilla could be in 2 places at the same time. So what does that tell us?
Grunt has an accomplice.
George, we're dealing with 2 gorillas.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The things say it, but the problems are real.
9:43 a.m. and dry in Los Angeles for a change after the torrential rain sent the mud cascading down the hills to squelch the canyon brush fires. We were working on a series of robberies being committed by an escaped gorilla named Grunt. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's show to refresh our memories. When solving a problem, it's good to make sure you haven't missed something, even a little something. Jane told us that gorillas don't walk on their hind legs. So when Pie Balboa, the pizza store owner, told us he had footprints to show us, Jane said,
That's just it. Gorillas don't really walk on their hind legs like they do in the movies. They walk on all 4s. So there'd be sets of 4 prints.
But then a phone call really threw a monkey wrench into our case.
Mathnet, frankly. Are you sure? What time was that? Uh-huh. Was he out of breath? I see. Then it must not have been he. Thank you. Crime in Entlease.
What?
Our gorilla was spotted at 10:05. He was picking oranges in the backyard of a house on Scenic Drive in that new project. You know, the step development in Hollywood Hills? The lady yelled and the monkey left.
Now, there's no way one gorilla could be in two places at the same time. So what does that tell us?
Grunt has an accomplice.
George, we're dealing with two gorillas.
We've checked every zoo in a 3-state area, and all of their gorillas are present and accounted for.
So where did the second gorilla come from?
It's a mystery.
Any ideas, Jane?
Nuh-uh, but the last one sounds like Grunt.
What do you mean?
The lady scared him and he ran away. That's what I've been trying to tell you.
Kate, I was just thinking. Remember what you said in Monday's episode?
That was a long time ago, George. I said a number of things.
I mean about the gorilla, remember? You said it might be a man dressed in a gorilla suit.
But I was wrong. Grunt is missing from the zoo. Maybe it was Grunt and a man in a gorilla suit. George, try Fox Costumes and see if anybody has rented a gorilla suit in the past week.
Right.
Debbie, check your files and see if we have a record of a person or persons committing crimes while wearing unusual costumes.
What can I do?
Accept my apology. I should have been listening to you more carefully all along, Jane. I'm sorry. I think you know more about solving this problem than we do.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Thank you.
Kate, the gorilla suit was rented this past weekend. The guy said it was for a party.
A party?
Uh-huh. Some sort of church fundraiser. The fellow who rented it goes by the name of Janos Prokedzian.
Janos Prokedzian.
Does the name ring a bell?
I know who it is. Janos Prokedzian is the man who gave Grunt to the zoo.
He gave him to the zoo?
Janos used to be a circus performer. He and Grunt were partners.
What were they, stand-up comics? Clowns? Song and lurch team?
Janos and Grunt used to juggle.
Juggle what?
Janos, mostly. Anyway, the circus went belly up.
While we were juggling?
They went broke, and Janos didn't know what to do with his gorilla, so he found a good home for him at the LA Zoo.
Well, that ties the two of them together. But I don't know what that means. Maybe we should pay a call on Janos Prokedzian. Jane, you wait here.
Let's roll. We got Janos' address from Fox Costumes and paid him a visit.
No one home, George.
Notice anything unusual, Kate? In the air, I mean?
Uh-huh.
Let's go around back. It's either a wild animal or a plumbing problem.
What do you think, George?
It's like a broken wild animal cage.
I think you're exactly right. Let's play what if.
What's what if?
It's a way of using facts to make logical guesses. Now, what do we know for sure?
There are two gorillas, or one man in a gorilla suit and one gorilla.
What if the man is Janos Prokedzian?
I see what you're doing. Okay, well, what if Grunt didn't really escape from the zoo?
But Grunt did escape from the zoo.
We don't know that, Debbie. No one saw him escape.
Right, so what if Janos let Grunt out of his cage?
Right. Grunt would go with Janos. He would remember him.
Uh-huh. And what if Janos locked him in that cage at his house?
But why would he do that?
What if Janos wanted everybody to think that a really ferocious gorilla was committing all the crimes, when it was really Janos in the suit all the time?
That wouldn't explain the map.
What do you mean?
Look at all those sightings. Dozens and dozens of them. We don't know for sure they were all caused by our twosome.
But we know that only one gorilla is missing.
And we know that Janos rented the gorilla suit.
Let's keep working on this together. It's one of the best ways to solve problems. What if he used Grunt on some of the crimes and dressed up in a suit for the other ones?
But what if he didn't use Grunt?
What do you mean?
What if Janos kept Grunt locked up and committed all the crimes himself? He could have done it by robbing a store and jumping into his car.
We haven't any reports of gorillas driving cars around.
He could have taken the head off and put a coat on. No one would have noticed him.
Right. Some of the managers of the store said he ran out the back. He could have had a car parked in the alley.
And what if Grunt escaped?
From Janos, you mean? Sure. Look at the map. These reports and these and this cluster are robberies.
Yes, George. And these are reports of sighting where the gorilla was scared away.
And they're all within the same area.
And here's Janos' house. They're within a small radius of the place where Grunt might have escaped.
If we're right, and we don't know that we are, but if our hunches are right, we've got to cover this area with our units.
I'll bet we're right. Grunt got away from Mr. Prochetzi, and he's out there wandering around loose, and he's very scared. We have to get him before something awful happens to him.
Don't worry, Jane, we will. George, organize our special forces.
Right.
Debbie, call the zoo. Have them send some attendants up here with a big truck and some nets.
Right.
But what can I do?
I told you. Accept my apologies.
Mathnet Williams. Yes. Really? That is fantastic news.
Another sighting?
Yes, and you're gonna love this one. The gorilla has come home to roost.
What do you mean?
That was the LA Zoo. Grunt is back in his cage.
Well, Jane, I guess you can go to the zoo and welcome your friend back home.
I'll say, he's one smart gorilla. He found his way back to his home away from home. See you later. Grunt would never forgive me if I forgot Faye.
I'll bet.
Mathnet, frankly. Where? I see. We'll be right there. I think we're going to get 2 gorillas with 1 stone.
What?
Another sighting. Janos Perkedzian is climbing up the Hollywood sign.
Call the SWAT team. Let's go get that phony gorilla.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. Names are made up with the problems of real.
11:43 a.m. and way laid back even for Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Mathnet and trying to solve one of the most baffling cases in Mathnet history, the problem of the missing monkey. My partner is George Franklin, the boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We decided to look at earlier episodes to refresh our memories. When you're trying to solve a problem, it's important to go back over the facts. A series of robberies had been taking place in the greater and near greater Los Angeles area. That is not too unusual, but the robberies were being committed by a gorilla, or so we thought. The problem was the gorilla was taking things a real gorilla shouldn't need, like money. We figured it must be a man dressed up in a gorilla uniform, until we got a call from the zoo.
Grunt is missing.
Who?
The zoo's prize gorilla Grunt is missing from his cage.
Now we figured we were dealing with a real gorilla, until Jane, our soon-to-be zoologist, pointed out that Grunt would never do the things he was being accused of.
And here's something else you haven't considered. Gorillas need a lot of rest, and according to your own reports, Grunt has been robbing stuff for about 18 hours straight.
Maybe he feels he's on a roll.
Gorillas spend at least 14 hours a day sleeping.
That's more than half a day.
They have to renew themselves. Grunt couldn't have gone that long without sleep. You have to believe me.
We decided to use a strategy we call what if. It's a way to use facts you know with guesses as to where those facts might lead you. Fact. We now knew we were dealing with 2 gorillas. Look at all those sightings. Dozens and dozens of them. We don't know for sure they were all caused by our twosome.
But we know that only 1 gorilla is missing.
And we know that Janos rented the gorilla suit.
Let's keep working on this together. It's one of the best ways to solve problems. What if he used Grunt on some of the crimes and dressed up in the suit for the other ones?
But what if he didn't use Grunt?
What do you mean?
What if Janos kept Grunt locked up and committed all the crimes himself? He could have done it by robbing a store and jumping into his car.
We haven't any reports of gorillas driving cars around.
He could have taken the head off and put a coat on. No one would have noticed him.
Right. Some of the managers of the store said he ran out the back. He could have had a car parked in the alley. But then we got a call and a stroke of luck.
Mathnet Williams. Yes. Really? That is fantastic news.
And exciting?
Yes, and you're gonna love this one. The gorilla has come home to roost.
What do you mean?
That was the LA Zoo. Grunt is back in his cage.
And another call told us the gorilla imposter had been sighted in Hollywood. Call the SWAT team. Let's go get that phony gorilla. With the math chopper hovering in the air above and the SWAT team sharpshooters arriving on the ground below, the ultimate capture of Janos Berkedzian, the make-believe gorilla, was only minutes away.
He shouldn't be there. It's against the law.
So is robbing stores.
All right, Berkedzian, give it up. You're surrounded.
Aren't you forgetting something, Kate? His rights.
There was no stopping George, who was determined to read Janos Berkedzian his rights. 3 of us decided to climb down the hill to back George up. The rest of the SWAT team covered us from above.
You have the right to remain silent. Hey, come on, take it easy. Come on. If you give up the right to remain silent, anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. I don't think he cares, Kate.
George, get back down here.
Don't worry, Kate. I'm an Eagle Scout. I got 2 merit badges for short-footedness. Oh. You have the right to I wish you'd take your head off so I can understand you.
Hey, the SWAT team is going to have to make us move. Get George down.
George, the SWAT team is going into action.
I'm coming.
George!
I never did get a merit badge in ladder climbing. Rats. Keep coming.
Okay, men, get ready to take them.
Miss Monday! That's the wrong gorilla!
Come on, Berkedzian. This isn't going to look very good. Your record. Okay, we're going to help you take him.
Wait! That's not Mr. Berkedzian! That's Grunt!
Grunt's in his cage.
No, he isn't. I went to the zoo, and it's not a gorilla in Grunt's cage. It's a man in a gorilla suit. I don't know who he is, but I locked him in. This is Grunt!
But wait, I thought you said gorillas were shy and peaceful. Look what he's trying to do to George.
Cut it out, Berkedzian. That's government property. You're not supposed to have this.
They are shy, except when there's threats, and having a guy read you your rights on top of the homicide is threatening.
If you don't cooperate, we'll never drop this town. Now, don't drop it. I told you not to drop it.
George, that isn't Berkedzian, it's Grunt. He feels threatened.
I can relate to that.
We'll have to use the tranquilizer guns.
Which one of them?
You can't do that!
It'll just put him to sleep.
But he could fall and kill himself!
If we don't do it, he could not fall and kill George.
Oh, boy. Why did I believe this?
Grunt, don't do it! It's me, Jane, remember? It's me! Remember all those Friday nights? The pizza, the stories? Remember, you mentioned how much we meant to each other! Grunt, leave me alone, you big bully!
Stay away.
Here! Cut!
Partner, I was getting a little worried about you.
You know, partner, me too.
This time I'll make sure the real monkey ends up in the zoo.
Why don't you start with Bob Boyle or he's on your back?
Thank you, Miss Kay.
I think maybe you better ask Scott to wait in the car.
Sure thing, Mr. Franklin. We'll hold the anchovies.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. The right to speak to an attorney.
So it was Janos all the time.
But I still don't understand why he came to the zoo.
I guess he figured no one would look for him here. He intended to leave after dark, but Jane locked his cage.
The big ape.
The ever-present LAPD captured Janos Proketzian at the zoo, and he was found guilty of robbery and impersonating a gorilla. He was made to return all the money and produce he had stolen, except for 20 pounds of bananas which had gone bad. He was sentenced to an appropriate number of years away from society and real gorillas.
% of Square One TV is a production of the Children's Television Workshop. This program was made possible by grants from the National Science Foundation, the U.S. Department of Education, the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, and the Carnegie Corporation of New York.
Corporate funding is provided by IBM. At IBM, we believe education is the key to the future. We are pleased to help support Square One TV as an innovative way to introduce young people to the exciting world of mathematics.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was a Monday, 2:43 p.m. and smoggy in Los Angeles for a Monday at 2:43 p.m. I was working the day watch out of MathNet. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. The chief had called us to his office. Afternoon, Chief.
Afternoon, Kate. Would you have a seat, please?
Afternoon, George.
Morning, Kate.
What do you two know about parades?
I love a parade. The tramping of feet. I love every beat. I hear of a drum. I love a parade. When I hear a band, I just want to stand.
What's the occasion, Chief?
And cheer as they come.
It's a parade in honor of Burbank's favorite son.
Steve Stringbean?
None other. America's favorite rock star. It's going to happen on Saturday, and I need your help. I don't know much about rock music, but I understand that Steve Stringbean is hot.
Hot? I'll say he's hot. Martha's got all the CDs.
Martha has a compact disc player.
No, not yet.
He's coming into L.A. today, but he hasn't said where or when.
When you're as famous as he is, I can't blame him. He has more fans than any other rock star in the world.
And what's unusual about him is he looks like a regular guy.
Regular?
Yes, Chief. No purple hair or torn T-shirts. In fact, he's known for his short hair.
Short hair?
Uh-huh. You probably heard his last big hit.
Don't think so.
I was shorn in the USA. Short hair and fine, healthy teeth and gums. You know what his fans call him?
George.
The Floss. You know how many records he sold?
The parade is in Burbank. We've been asked to help. The mayor's going to give him the key to the city. Here is a map of the parade route. What I need from you two are estimates of how many people we can expect, figure out how many police we need, ambulances, fire trucks, the whole enchilada. Parades are fun, mathematicians. They can also be a problem if they're not handled properly.
Right, Chief. When do you need the information?
As usual, we're in a hurry. We need it
Yesterday. Come on, George. We've got a lot of planning to do.
Good luck.
George and I decided to try a dry run on the actual parade route of March. We needed the facts, and here was a chance to get them firsthand. The route was to begin at Burbank and Victory Boulevards. Proceed west to Hollywood Way. Make a 90-degree turn north. And continue to the Burbank Airport at Winona. There, Steevn would receive the key to the city, play a short concert, and board a plane at 7:30 to get to his next appearance in Mitchell, South Dakota at the Corn Palace. Good-sized parking lot, George. This is where they're going to have the ceremony.
It's pretty big. Martha's going to be thrilled.
Martha is a big fan, eh?
She almost got his autograph on August 16th when he played the Hollywood Bowl.
Really? What happened?
Not much. Couldn't get tickets. It was sold out for weeks.
Uh-huh. Let's get back to headquarters.
According to this report, Kate, the parade is going to be colossal. They're going to have floats, marching bands, horses, the VFW, a motorcade, the Blue Angels. The parade itself is going to be 1 mile long.
We drove the route, and we know that it's 3.2 miles long. Most parades average a speed of about 2 miles per hour.
So, in 1 hour, the parade goes 2 miles. In 2 hours, it goes 4 miles. If the parade route was 3 miles, it would take 1 1/2 hours.
The parade starts at 5 o'clock, so it would finish at 6:30.
But the route is a little longer than 3 miles.
So it'll finish a little later than 6:30.
Right. Plenty of time for the ceremony, and for him to catch his plane, and for me to get home in time to barbecue.
What are you going to cook?
I don't know. Some stuff Martha got at the store.
Sounds delicious. I'm not doing anything Saturday night, George.
I am. I'm barbecuing. Kate, wait a minute.
What's wrong?
The parade. I mean, it's going to take longer than we thought.
We just figured it out.
But we forgot something. The front of the parade will get there at that time. But the parade is 1 mile long. The end of the parade will still be parading.
Uh-huh. If the parade moves at 2 miles per hour and the parade is 1 mile long, then the end of the parade won't get to the airport for another half an hour.
And Steve will be at the end, and he's got to perform. He might miss his plane. This is NG. No good.
We'll just have to start the parade a half an hour earlier.
We can tell everybody else, but how are we going to get the word to Steevn? Remember? He travels incognito.
Just how does Steve Steevn travel?
He has his own van.
But, George, there are thousands of vans in the greater Los Angeles area.
Right, but I know for a fact that Steve Steevn has the only one without a sunset painted on it. We could put out an APB for a funny-looking van.
How's it going, Matnetters? We want that estimate of crowd size so we'll know how many police officers we'll need.
We were just getting to that, Chief. George and I drove the parade route.
Good idea.
I made all the lights.
Our rule of thumb is that each person needs at least 2 square feet of space.
So we need to know how many square feet are available along the route, right?
Right. George, here's a more detailed map of the parade route. 10 feet of viewing space on either side of the street. That's a total width of 20 feet.
Okay, the parade route is 3.2 miles. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. 3.2 times 5,280 is 16,896.
That's about 17,000. Now to find the area in square feet, multiply that by 20 feet. The sum of the width of the sidewalks on either side.
That's about 340,000 square feet. Now each person gets 2 square feet of space.
Divide 340,000 by 2, and we get 170,000. We figure we could get as many as 170,000 people there, Chief.
That's as many people as live in the greater Lubbock, Texas area. Now, let's estimate the number of police we need parade-wise.
The parade covers about 30 blocks. When a block is packed with people, our experience tells us we need 4 officers on each side of the street.
That's 8 officers per block.
Times 30 blocks.
That gives us 240 police, and I don't have that many available.
How many do you have, Chief?
It's 120 in the special events detail. But they're all trained to ride horses.
Police on horseback are very effective for crowd control.
That's right. A crowd respects a horse with a cop on its back.
In fact, we estimate that 1 officer on a horseback is as effective as 10 officers on foot. Crowds just don't know what a horse might do and are reluctant to get rambunctious.
Just imagine, Chief, how effective you could be if you could train officers to ride bears.
Mm-hmm.
Or wild boars.
Let's figure this one out. We know we have 120 officers available.
We need 240 in all. What if we put 10 officers on horseback? Each one counts for 10 on foot. That's the same as 100 on foot. But we still need another 140 on foot.
With 10 of our pool of 120 officers on horseback, we still have 110 left on foot.
What if we put another 5 officers on horseback? That's another 50. We still need 90.
Well, now we have 105 left on foot. More than enough.
That's okay. We could use additional people at the airport for the concert. That's our answer. Thank you, mathematicians. We're off and marching.
Anything else we can help you with, Chief?
Not for the nonce, but believe me, I'll let you know. I just don't want any problems at the parade.
There won't be a problem at the parade, Chief. Guaranteed. There won't be a parade.
How's that?
Steve Stringbean has been kidnapped.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
4:43 p.m. We were working on the problem of the passing parade. The famous rock star Steve Stringbean was being honored by the Burbank City Fathers, and there was a parade to be planned. Our job? Figure out how many people might attend the festivities, how long the parade would take, and how many police we would need to control the crowd. We decided to take a look at our solutions from an earlier point in time. First, we calculated the amount of time the parade would take.
So, in 1 hour, the parade goes 2 miles. In 2 hours, it goes 4 miles. If the parade route was 3 miles long, it would take 1 1/2 hours.
The parade starts at 5 o'clock, so it would finish at 6:30.
But the route is a little longer than 3 miles.
So it'll finish a little later than 6:30. We needed to estimate about how many people would attend the parade.
Our rule of thumb is that each person needs at least 2 square feet of space.
So we need to know how many square feet are available along the route, right?
Right. George, here's a more detailed map of the parade route. There is 10 feet of viewing space on either side of the street. That's a total width of 20 feet.
Okay, the parade route is 3.2 miles. There are 5,280 feet in a mile. 3.2 times 5,280 is 16,896.
That's about 17,000. Now to find the area in square feet, multiply that by 20 feet. The sum of the width of the sidewalks on either side.
That's about 340,000 square feet. Now each person gets 2 square feet of space.
Divide 340,000 by 2, and we get 170,000. We figure we could get as many as 170,000 people there, Chief. But then we got some news. Bad news.
There won't be a problem at the parade, Chief. Guaranteed.
How's that?
There won't be a parade. Steve Stringbean's been kidnapped.
We had gotten a call from the president of the Greater Los Angeles Steve Stringbean fan club about the kidnapping. We arranged to meet him in Santa Monica. Are you the young man that called MathNet?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Monday. This is my partner, George.
Frankly.
MathNet.
I forgot it. It's on my dresser. I know. Oh, I was in a hurry.
What's your name, son?
I'm Eddie. Eddie Harris. But you can call me Rimshot.
Nickname?
Uh-huh.
Play the Skins?
Huh?
Are you a drummer?
You got it.
Can they call you Rimshot?
Put on bone.
How do you know Steve Stringbean was kidnapped?
Like I was there, on the scene.
On the stain?
Yeah, man, you know, where the action is. I was there for the roll call. I was present and accounted for. Like I was there.
Where?
In the back of that.
Is this the Stringbean deal?
None other. See, when Steve comes to L.A., he likes to stay with me and my folks.
How's that, son?
Like, you know, he doesn't like publicity. He hates being recognized. You dig?
He shuns the spotlight?
I don't know about that, man. But he stays with me until it's time for his concert. Then he drives there in his unmarked van. Only this time, it didn't work.
What happened?
We went out to get some gas. I was in the back of the van looking for his reverb box. Steve got out of the van. The next thing I know, he's tied up, gagged, and thrown in the back. And 2 guys were driving away with us. I stayed out of sight.
We continued to ask our witness more questions. We had a problem to solve, and we needed as many facts as we could get. Rimshot told us he couldn't see where they were being driven, but that it took about an hour before they stopped. We decided to take him back to headquarters and sketch his story on paper. Easier to figure it out if we could see it. If you drove for about an hour from Santa Monica, you could have gone quite a distance. Anything else you can remember?
I remember the ocean.
The ocean?
Yeah, man. You know, the water next to the beach. The ocean, man, where the fish live.
What about the ocean?
It was on the left for a long time.
How long?
15 or 20 minutes. Then we turned right and started uphill at about a 10-degree angle.
How do you know that?
Celery tonic, man.
Celery tonic?
Sure. Me and Steve never leave home without it. And I know we were going up because the tonic came all the way up to the top of the Y.
Let's see that, Rimshot.
Rimshot said the sound of the ocean was on the left. Therefore, they had to be driving north. I drew a quick sketch of the road according to the level of Rimshot's celery tonic bottle. It looked to be about 10 or 12 degrees. We needed more information. George, call an expert. Call the Department of Street Maintenance and see what roads in that area have that kind of incline.
Right, Kate.
What happened after you started climbing?
We made a few turns.
Can you guess how many?
No need to guess, like I kept track. We made 3 of them.
That's great, Rimshot.
Yeah, well, you know, it helped kill the time. And I know how many beats in between each turn.
How many beats?
Yeah, being an aspiring drummer, I'm always practicing one thing or another. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. And like that.
Thanks to you, Rimshot, I think we'll be able to find Stringbean.
Yeah, well, you know, like, ba-dum-bum, man.
Kate, the street maintenance department says there's only 3 roads off Coast Highway with angles that even approach 10 degrees. Topanga Canyon, Malibu Canyon, and Steve Canyon. But that one's closed due to a mudslide.
Let's go check them out. Come on, George. Come on, Rimshot.
Solid, Jackson.
Ba-dum-bum, man.
We got Steve Stringbean's van and headed for the Pacific Coast Highway. Rimshot guessed that the van had been traveling at a normal speed. We decided to try Topanga Canyon Road first because it was closer and could easily have been reached from Santa Monica within 15 or 20 minutes. The angles were matching and Rimshot was counting.
2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. There should be a left turn near here someplace. 5, 2, 3, 4. 6, 2, 3.
Maybe that's it up ahead.
Rimshot told us they had stopped and pulled Stringbean out of the van. Then he said he heard a door creak open and slam shut. Before he could look around, the driver of the van backed up and started down the mountain.
How are we doing, Rimshot?
27, 2, 3, 4. 28, 2, 3, 4.
We had the solution within our grasp, thanks to the information Rimshot was giving us. Think that could be it, Rimshot?
This must be the place.
If they are holding Stringbean in there, we gotta, like, aerobic with care.
What does that mean?
Exercise caution.
Mathematicians, freeze!
They're gone.
But they're here, man.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
9:43 a.m. We had been working on the problem of the passing parade and solved it. Steve Stringbean was going to be honored by the biggest parade the city of Burbank had ever had. That was before he was kidnapped. Now we had new problems to solve. Who stole Stringbean? Why did they steal Stringbean? Where did they put Stringbean? My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's show to refresh our memories. Our eyewitness, Eddie Rimshot Harris, was directing us to the kidnapper's hideout through a unique method featuring an angle of incline from a celery tonic bottle as it related to the angle of a steep mountain road. Coupling that with Rimshot's knowledge of the times between the turns the kidnappers had made, he was leading us to a remote hideout, which we found.
Mathematicians, freeze!
They're gone. But they're here, man.
Monday, frankly, any news on the kidnapping? I don't need to tell you two. I'm getting a lot of pressure on this one.
Me too, Chief. Martha's holding me personally responsible for Steve Stringbean's disappearance.
Martha's a big fan of his.
I'll say, sometimes I really think about getting mad at her.
Uh-huh.
Look, I want this case solved, and I want it solved in a hurry. You have the entire department at your disposal. Get moving.
Come on, George, let's get the boys from the lab and take another look at that shack. Those tire tracks are awfully narrow.
Could be from a motorcycle.
There are 2 sets of tracks, George.
That could have been 2 motorcycles in close formation, Kate. You know, like airplanes.
Uh-huh. Check inside again, George, and see if we missed anything. I'll check around out here.
In problem solving, it is important to know everything you can about the problem to be solved.
Kate, I may have something here.
You do have something there, George.
I mean, it may help solve the mystery.
What is it?
Music paper.
Music paper?
You know, the paper people write music on. It even has a title, 75 Trombones. Boy, whoever wrote this came really close to a big hit.
Let's take this information back to headquarters and go over all of it. Sam, Steve, when you're ready, let's roll. Can you read music, Rimshot?
Yeah, man. And this doesn't look like anything Steve would have written. Listen. 75 trombones is what you have. If you march down the field, you can blow them. I mean, come on, man. Steve doesn't, like, write marches. Bag it, man. It doesn't swing.
You're right, Rimshot. It's not string bean style.
I kind of liked it, though, you know? I mean, it scans.
I got the information back from the lab, George.
On the tires?
Uh-huh. They're 440, 450, 21s.
What's that mean?
I'll show you. It means the width of the tread is 4.4 to 4.5 inches. The 21 means the diameter of the wheel rim is 21 inches. Very strange.
What's very strange?
They haven't made many tires like that since the 1920s and 30s. They're for very old cars.
They had cars in the 1920s and 30s? I thought they had horses.
Those cars would be antiques by now.
Exactly, and there aren't too many of them. Ask Debbie to run a computer check with the Antique Car Club and get a list of those cars in the greater Los Angeles area.
Right.
You know what's weird? Like about this kidnapping, man?
What?
Nobody's called asking for ransom. Don't they always call and ask for money or jewels or something?
Usually. Unless they've already... Math at Monday. What? Goodness. What? Hello? You say you have Steve Stringbean. Of course you want him returned. How much? You want $104,020 and you'll return him? How do I know you've got him? When? Where? Hello? He hung up.
They've got Stringbean.
And they want $104,020 to give him back. That's strange, too. Why not more?
Or less.
Why a specific amount like $104,020?
Surprise, Kate. There are 1,537 antique cars registered in the greater Los Angeles area.
How'd you find that out so fast?
Debbie did it by using her computer.
She searched the database of the Department of Motor Vehicles.
Those are the guys you have to register your car with.
Right.
What's a database?
In this case, it's like an electronic book that has all kinds of information about cars. Debbie searched it and asked it to give her information about antique cars only.
And the computer gave her just the stuff she asked for.
Uh-huh. If you had to do the search by hand, it could take days.
While you were gone, George, we had a call about Stringbean.
Martha?
The kidnappers. MathNet Monday. Oh, it's you again. No, that's all right. I understand it happens all the time. How do I know you have Stringbean? Uh-huh. Put him on the phone. It's him again. Said he had to get more change. George, record this. Rimshot, get on the other phone. Yes, hello? Is this really you, Steve? All right. Hello? Yes, where do you want the money delivered? You'll call back when and where? Uh-huh. What? You have a nice day, too. Well?
That was Steve, all right.
But why was he singing?
Why was he singing off key?
I recorded it, Kate. Listen.
Please do what these people say.
Again.
I think I like the march better than that.
He's flat. That's not like him.
Have you ever heard that before, Rimshot?
Not really, but it does sound a little like Clump Avenue Stomp.
Maybe he's trying to send us a message.
Maybe.
But he was singing flat, and he's got perfect pitch.
Perfect pitch? Like Fernando Valenzuela?
Not a baseball pitch, man. Like you name a note, any note, and Steve can hit it. He hears the pitch of every note perfectly.
Maybe there's something in the lyrics of Clump Avenue Stomp that can give us a lead.
Good idea, Kate. Do you remember the lyrics, Rimshot?
I can never forget him, man. It was an instrumental.
Oh, just music, no words.
Uh-huh.
There must be some reason why he was singing Clump Avenue Stomp.
Maybe he's just trying to keep his chops up. You know, man, like he was practicing.
What do you remember about the song, Rimshot?
It's from an album called Easy Street Ain't All That Bad.
Martha's got it.
What else?
I don't remember much about it, man. I know it came out in 1984, was recorded live at concert at Wrigley Field, Chicago, zip code 60603, and was released through String Bean's own label, Vegetarian Discs.
That's an amazing amount of worthless knowledge, Rimshot.
But man.
If String Bean was trying to tell us something, it didn't work.
I just remembered something else. It was recorded on October 1st, 1984, man.
How's that, man?
What's October? The 10th month. So it was recorded on 10/1/84. What is Steve trying to tell us he's being held at 10/1/84 Easy Street?
I think you're reaching, Rimshot.
Let's run it through the computer, Kate. Sometimes we have to go by a stomach cramp. You know, a gut reaction.
That's amazing. There is a 10/1/84 Easy Street. It's in Pacoima. Know what's there? Embassy Cleaners.
That's the name of the recording studio.
It was recorded at a dry cleaner?
Embassy Recording. He's got to be there, man.
Your hunch is worth a try, son. It's all we've got to go on. Let's roll. Excuse me, sir. We're looking for an Embassy Cleaners.
Uh-huh.
Know where we might find it?
It was right here. Burnt down 3 days ago.
The story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was 9:43 a.m. and the garbage strike was still on in New York City. Luckily, we were working the day watch out of MathNet in Los Angeles. We were working on the problem of the passing parade, which had turned into a kidnapping caper. America's most popular rock star, Steve Stringbean, was missing. My partner is George Frankley. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We decided to look at a couple of scenes from yesterday's show to refresh our memories. All we had to go on were some narrow tire tracks that proved to be made by an antique car, a celery tonic bottle with Stringbean's fingerprints on it, some music, and at last a phone call from the kidnappers. Eddie Rimshot Harris had an idea. A long shot.
Embassy Recording. He's got to be there, man.
Your hunch is worth a try, son. It's all we've got to go on. Let's roll. Excuse me, sir. We're looking for Embassy Cleaners.
Uh-huh.
Know where we might find it?
It was right here. Burnt down 3 days ago.
Word of Stringbean's kidnapping had leaked out to the press. Thad Green called us in to answer their questions. It wasn't easy, especially since we couldn't answer many of our own questions.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Fourth Estate, be seated, please. We're ready to answer as many of your questions as possible. With me are Kate Monday and George Frankley of MathNet.
Hi. Have you heard from the kidnappers?
Yes, Tom. Kate has spoken with them.
They have issued a ransom demand.
What happens if they don't get it?
I'm afraid they said we'll never hear Steve thrush again. You know, sing. Yes, the reporter in the red tie.
Mr. Frankley, isn't it true you have used mathematics to try and find Stringbean's whereabouts?
Sure, Dick. We've used geometry, maps, even hunches to solve this case.
Well, follow up, please.
I'd rather you let the other people have a chance.
Yes, the newsman in the red tie.
Yes, what kind of math have you used to apprehend these despicable criminals?
Well, Harry, we used mapping which led us to their hideout, but we arrived too late and they'd already gone. We've used geometry, estimation, statistics.
But nothing has worked.
Not so far, but we'll keep trying. Yes, sir, the news anchor in the red tie.
What is the first thing you do in a case like this?
Get as many facts as we can.
Then we try to come up with a hypothesis, a possible solution. Just having facts without knowing what they might mean isn't much help to us. Help-wise, I mean.
Have you gone down many blind alleys?
Yes, but that's usually the way with problem-solving situations. Solutions just don't jump up and bite you on the bottom. You have to earn them. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Now we're really going to be under pressure. I want this case solved, and want Steevn returned safely.
I couldn't agree with you more, Chief. And if it's any consolation, sir, Martha feels the same way.
Math that Monday. Yes. You want the money delivered how? And when? Yes, all right, I've got it. How do we know Steve Steevn is all right? All right. All right, it will be done as you asked.
I recorded it, Kate.
It's like he's tipping us off. Like he's singing a message.
George, they want the money frozen in a 350-pound block of ice.
Ice?
And then you know what they demand?
A very big glass?
They want it pushed off the pier at Santa Monica at exactly 12:01 a.m. tomorrow.
Huh. A minute past midnight. Remember the good old days, Kate? When kidnappers just asked you to put the ransom money in old hollow stumps and things like that?
This is bizarre.
Please do what these people say.
What can these guys be thinking?
I don't know unless... Hello, Harbor Patrol? Kate Monday, MathNet. Fine, thank you. And you? Good. The reason I'm... What? Yes, it is interesting work at times. That's true. Mathematics certainly does influence our daily lives. Now, if I... Thank you. Could you tell me the tide tables at Santa Monica for the next 18 hours, please? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Thank you.
Got something?
It's high tide at 12:01 tomorrow morning.
They want a 350-pound block of ice dumped into the ocean at high tide.
Can we figure out how far and where a 350-pound block of ice will float before it sinks?
I can't.
Maybe we can make an estimate. We'll need to know the speed of the current, the winds.
Uh-huh. And the water temperature, and how fast ocean water will affect ice.
It's inexact, but it's the best we've got.
Maybe we have something to go on, mathematicians. I wrote down the notes that Steve sang.
We're kind of busy right now, Rim.
Wait a minute. Every note in music has a corresponding alphabetical annotation, man.
Huh?
See this note? It's an F.
I see. You think you might be trying to spell out a clue for us, Rimshot?
Maybe. But the next two notes are F's also.
What word begins with FFF?
I don't know, man, but here's the rest of the notes. E flat, G, F, E flat.
F, 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 E flat, G, F, E flat. F of Gaffey. That doesn't spell anything.
Nice try, Rimshot, but I'm afraid it doesn't mean much.
What I still can't figure out is why he's singing off key.
Well, they may just be nervous. Can't be much fun. Being kidnapped, I mean.
George, get the lab working on our ice problem.
Right.
That's it!
Steve Steevn is singing the kidnapper's telephone number.
story you are about to see is a fib, but it's short. The names are made up, but the problems are real.
It was 2:43 p.m. and baseball fever gripped Los Angeles. The Dodgers had just dropped a pair to the Cubs in a peach of a twin bill. We were working the day watch out of MathNet, trying to solve the disappearance of rock star Steve Stringbean. We were having very little luck and were getting discouraged, but we knew, like true problem solvers, we had to keep plugging. My partner is George Franklin. The boss is Thad Green. My name is Monday. I'm a mathematician. We decided to look at the last scene from yesterday's show to see if it might help.
What I still can't figure out is, why he's singing off key?
Well, he may just be nervous. Can't be much fun. Being kidnapped, I mean.
George, get the lab working on our eyes problem.
Right.
That's it!
Steve Stringbean is singing the kidnapper's telephone number.
Rimshot, you were right all along. Steve was trying to communicate with us.
We should have thought of it. Every button on a touch-tone telephone produces a musical note. Sing the notes, Rimshot. George, you find each note on the phone.
Sure. Then, when we've got the number, the phone company will be able to search its database, just like Debbie did when she got the information about the cars. The phone company will use its computer to search the number and match it up with an address. We'll know where the kidnappers are calling from.
And the rest is like history, man. Here's the first tone. F.
It's a 5, man. So the first 3 numbers are 5s.
Here's the next one. E flat.
Seven.
In no time, George and Rimshot had pinpointed the telephone number as 555-7657. We were getting closer. George called the phone company and asked them to do their database search for the address.
Thank you. Interesting, Kate. About the number, I mean. There are 3 area codes in the greater Los Angeles area.
That's right, George. So?
Our number shows up on 2 of them. 1075 Wellworth Street and 313 Glockenspiel Way.
How are we gonna know which is the right one?
Got an idea, George. Remember the antique cars?
Antique cars?
Yeah, like old, you know. Rumble seats, running boards, and good mileage.
I'll ask Debbie to use her computer and see if any of those cars are registered at either of these 2 addresses.
I'm like impressed, man.
Pretty hip, huh, Daddy-O?
Ba-dum-bum, man.
I've used the Department of Motor Vehicles databank, mathematicians, and here's what I've got. A man named John Phillips Lusa, who owns a 1926 Model T, has that phone number, and his address is 313 Glockenspiel Way.
He's got to be our man. Let's roll.
440, 450, 21. The tires fit, Kate.
Afternoon, sir. Monday, MathNet.
Frankly, MathNet.
Rimshot, hanging out.
How may I help you, I wonder?
We're investigating a missing persons case, and we think you can help us.
Oh, I don't think so. I haven't been missing for weeks.
Mind if we come in?
In the house?
Yes, sir.
Not at all.
Once we were in the house, George informed the man of his rights. Are you John Phillips Lusa, and do you own that car outside?
Yes.
Yes, what?
Yes, sir.
Yes to which question?
Yes to both questions. Yes. Yes. I am John Phillips Lusa, and I do own that car out front. Want to make something of it?
Mr. Lusa, did you write this music?
Yes, I did. That's 3 yeses in a row. Yes to my name, yes to the car, and yes to the music. When you're hot, you're hot.
Yes, sir. I wonder if you know who Steve Stringbean is.
Yes, I know who he is, and yes, I did see him last August 16th at the Hollywood Bowl.
You lucky dog. Martha and I couldn't even get tickets.
We have reason to believe that you might know his present whereabouts.
Do you like music, son?
It's my life, man.
Mine too, Pops. You like marches?
I can leave them or leave them.
Here's one I just finished. Stars and Stripes occasionally. Here's another. March into the River Kwai.
What's that one?
That? Oh, that's the St. Louis Blues March.
I think Glenn Miller already did it, man.
Oh, really? Here's one of my favorites. 75 trombones is what you have. If you march down the field, you can blow them.
Mr. Lusa, we know you kidnapped Steve Stringbean.
Where is he, Mr. Lusa?
In the other room. Oh.
Steve, you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, Rimshot. Thank you for the inquiry.
He had us worried, Steve, didn't he, George?
Can I have your autograph, Floss?
Did you meet my accomplice?
How do you do? I'm Floyd Tyrone, drum major.
Mr. Lusa, we have some more questions for you. Let's go.
Mr. Lusa, would you mind telling us what this is all about? Why did you kidnap Steve Stringbean?
I wanted him to perform my material. I just knew if the public could hear my march, played by Steve Stringbean, that I'd have the fame that eluded me and Floyd all our lives.
Almost all our lives. I made honor roll in 7th grade.
Why did you ask for such an unusual ransom?
$104,020? That's what it cost to rent the University of Michigan football stadium, including the marching band.
You wanted your music to be performed by the Wolverine Marching Band with Steve running the group?
Mm-hmm. What do you think? Is that big or what? I was going to lead the band up and down the field.
Did you go to school at the University of Michigan?
No, I flunked out my freshman year.
I'm sorry.
Had to finish up at Michigan State, but I've always been partial to the big blue band.
Mr. Lusa, what you've done is, well...
Not nice.
Worse.
Rotten.
Illegal.
I was afraid you were going to say that.
Once again, working hand in glove with the Los Angeles Police Department, justice has been served. I'm glad we found you before the parade, Steve.
So am I.
Sorry you were put to so much trouble.
Me too, man.
Well, it wasn't a total waste. I did get some work done.
Please do what these people say. I kneel with fallen arches. Please do what these people say. I can't stand hearing marches.
Well, partner, looks like we've solved another one.
Except for one thing.
What's that?
I didn't get his autograph, and Martha's going to be really ticked off.
Aww.
Both John Phillips Lusa and Floyd Tyrone were convicted of stealing a rock musician and sentenced to an appropriate number of years away from society and the University of Michigan marching band.